Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Molten Truth. As you know, I'm your host, Zoe Michaels, and we have another guest coming back. This has been an exciting season 2, where we've had some new and we've had some revisits from others, and we love it all. Just a reminder to check out our sister podcast, the Before the Diagnosis Famous Lives Untold. So if you haven't checked it out yet, check that out. But in the meantime, we are here visiting with Randi-Lee. Actually, I get your name wrong every single time, don't I? Randi-Lee Bowlaugh?
Bowlaugh.
Bowlaugh.
Close
Yeah,
enough. Close enough.
you're very forgiving. Oh
Good.
boy, I always struggle with people's names. I'm like, I've spoken with you before. Why don't I get your name right?
Because mine's spelled all funny like. It's totally fine.
Well, thank you. So Randy and I were catching up a little bit before we started our recording, and Randy has a new book coming out. We look forward to hearing about that. Before we get too deep in, because I will forget or it'll be like, oh wait, let's do this. Let's tell the folks your website.
Yes. So my website is rbwriting.ca. Remember, I'm in Canada. So rbwriting.ca.
Sounds good. I appreciate that because there's nothing worse than either afterthought or midway awkward segue into that, or
Right?
worst of
Yeah.
all, ending the recording session and going, I forgot to get her website, and hoping
Oh,
that
I
people
know.
see it in the synopsis.
Well, I know, and then I'm bad for like at the end. Most hosts will be like, "Oh, is there anything else you want to mention?" I'll be like, no," and I'm like, "Oh, my website. Ha ha ha. Where to find me? Yep,
That's
should mention
right.
that."
Let's get that out of the way. Let's take care of the business side, and let's just have a great visit otherwise.
Yes, exactly.
So, one of the things that I really appreciated about your website was just the various genres that you have tagged and even had awards for. I feel like when I first spoke to you, we were talking mainly about some poetry books that you had written.
Way back
And
when.
yep, exactly. And of course, the adoption of the three legged cat before you ever saw the three legged cat. That stuck with me. But I don't think I realized the breadth of the amount of work you do beyond the podcast that you also happen to have.
Yes, there's many a things. So whatever you want to know, because I need a little direction, or I'm just gonna roller coaster us.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to go back to what you and I had started to talk about, and where I got really enthusiastic before we started. Because right now I have a young friend. She's about 9 years old. Her mother tongue is Swahili. Her mother is learning English herself and doing well, but not as well as I would wish. And so this little girl is up here in the Cincinnati area, where there's not really a lot of community for her with the Swahili. So they're kind of like on a desert island in the middle of the ocean, you might say.
Yeah.
And so recently I volunteered to help her improve her English ability to write, ability to read, and found that she was an interesting mix because on some levels her reading skills were age appropriate, and some of her reading understanding was less than her current age appropriate. So I had decided that I would write my own children's book
Which I
specifically
love.
for her, with a simple stories, trying to go from the ground up and kind of gradually build with activities that were both in English and in Swahili. Now, I have no idea if I'm going to publish this book for the general public, but it's definitely going to be specific for her.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how it goes.
Well, exactly. I mean, if it's really good, I might share it because there's probably other little boys and girls out there who could probably use something like that, but I don't know.
Me
But
neither.
I was very interested when I was looking at your website, which is what brought this up. You have quite a number of children's books, including, where's it at? Because I was very impressed by this. Like you were working on specific, yeah, the at sounds, the og sounds. I was like, that's exactly kind of what I'm trying to do with this little girl and trying to build up.
Yes. So those weren't even my idea. They came from somebody else. And then I wrote them. But so I was talking to this guy that was in my business group. And he had little kids. I want to say like kindergarten, grade 1, 2-ish, something like that. And he's like, "Well, they're trying to learn to read, but they just keep looking at the pictures." And I mean, that is a really fantastic way to help your brain learn to read. But for
Absolutely.
his circumstance, like what he was looking for his kids was
Mhm.
easy books where there wasn't pictures to kind of cheat off of. Even though
Yeah.
it is a strategy, don't get me wrong, it's totally a strategy, just not the one he was looking for at that time. So I was like,
Right.
I could maybe try something like that. So I started with like, what is easy and what do kids like? Well, kids like cats. At is easy. So that's where that one came from. And so each page it just builds. So I can't remember exactly off the top of my head because it's been a little while, but it was like, here is a cat in a cat in a hat with a rat. Like, and it kept just adding to the sentence with another at word, so
Hmm.
that way it was just building on it. And the covers of the books have the cheat. So it's not that the cheat isn't there, it's that they draw the picture to go along with the words, because I mean kids love being creative too.
Right.
So they can kind of cheat. You use the strategy. I don't want to say cheat. They use the strategy of pictures, but from the
Hmm.
front. So there'd be like a cat, a rat, a bat, a hat. Same with the dog. So it was a frog on a log and a dog went for a jog.
That is adorable.
Oh, there's so many og sounds and you don't even think about it until you start doing it. And so again, all the pictures are on the front, so you can kind of flip back and forth. And then at the end of the book, it's like just the list of all the og or the at sounds. And then I was gonna get into other sounds, and then I just started doing other things because I get sidetracked all the time.
That is the nature of being a writer. We have so many ideas that pop into our head. I actually did this thing where I had my chat GPT roast me. Like if you were gonna roast me in one line, what would it be? And it
Oh,
was
I should do that. That sounds
it was it
hilarious.
was it was so fun. I was just like, "Yep, you got me. You nailed me," because it was like you have so many things on your list that you want to do that they're putting together a support group for the abandoned ideas. And I was like, "Yep, you nailed me."
Love that. Oh my gosh. I love that. The abandoned idea support group. That would make a good little book.
Not a bad idea.
It's pretty. I don't know. I might steal
It
it
is
from you.
yours if you want it. You
I'm
came up
gonna
with it.
add
It's
it to my
yours.
list of.
Your list of abandoned ideas.
Well, it's not abandoned yet because I haven't started it. Right. So right now it's just on the list of ideas. It hasn't quite made its way to the abandoned pile yet.
It's in the waiting room.
Exactly. Exactly. This is all coming together. It starts in the waiting room, and then we circle around to the ideas, and they're all sitting around, and yep. Then you got like half-made crafts sitting there.
That sounds like you're describing my house.
Yeah, well, I look over here and I have a half-done diamond art, although I do intend to finish it. I started it only just last weekend, okay? So it's not like it's been abandoned for long. But I realized, because I did it for a couple hours, I was watching Stranger Things, and that show never ends. Um, and so I realized that I am not a young person anymore, and I can't just lean over my desk and do crafts for hours. It took me 3 days and a trip to the physio to be able to sit up again.
Now, when
So,
you use the term
woo.
physio, is that the same thing as a chiropractor in our
Well, so
country, or
chiropractor is a little bit different than a physiotherapist. So the
a
chiropractor is going to crack
physiotherapist?
your back. Yeah, so physiotherapist.
Okay, I've just
And
never heard that
oh,
abbreviated version of physio before.
really?
That's
Yeah.
a new one on me.
Okay, yeah. So physio, we just abbreviate that for physiotherapist. Chiropractor.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, you gotta learn something new every day.
That's right. So unfinished projects is where we were, and you leaning over your desk, and
Yeah, and I was just it killed me. I literally had to cancel life for 3 days. I couldn't move. It was really bad.
that sounds like it.
Yeah.
I should tell you, I don't know where I would be without my little little massage gun. I got like that, this miniature
I have one of
massage
those.
gun.
Yes, I love
Oh my
it.
goodness. Like when I'm like in really bad shape, I am so grateful that I have that thing here in the house.
Those
And
things
so
are
I found the
great.
small one, like not the big massive ones that you've got to hold on to, like little teeny tiny little
Yeah.
travel size.
See, mine's not itty bitty. I used to have like the first one I got was like ginormous. I had to use like two hands. I'm like, this is not working
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
So I have one now. It's still not itty bitty tiny, but like you can hold it with one hand. So it works well.
Yeah. And I think we're talking the same thing. To
I think
me,
so. And it's
the
like a
ability to hold it in one hand is,
yeah.
I mean, because the other one was heavy and it did take with two
Yes.
hands. I was just like,
Right? Way
I
too
might as well
much.
have a drill.
Hey, that might work at times. Sometimes my body feels like I might need that.
But it does remind me of like the power tool my husband used to use for construction, and this is much easier to work with. And like, yeah, I can actually hold this with one hand and put it behind my back and
Right?
all this.
Exactly. And it has like the interchangeable little thingies. Oh, I
Yes. Oh
love.
my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where I'd be without it. I was actually the only reason I would even have considered buying one was because I was traveling, like it was like a 14-hour flight. And I'm like, I need to something I can take on the flight with me to
Mhm.
survival. So I was like, is there
Yeah.
such a thing as a smaller version of a massage? I don't know if you call it a massage gun or
Yeah,
whatever
maybe
you would call
massage
it,
gun.
but
Yeah, whatever.
sounds right.
Percussion gun, whatever.
I'm just questioning like the use of the word gun. But anyway,
Oh, when you're
massager.
traveling in the airplane, yeah, maybe not gun. Massage tool.
There we go. I like that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was funny too because on the flight, as I'm pulling out what looks like, almost like a gun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm walking down the aisle. I'm trying to make it very obvious that it's not anything dangerous. That it is, in fact, a massager and not something like. But I mean, because you see people kind of look at you for a second, they're like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah. Can I also use that maybe?
right." From fear to ooh,
Exactly. Hand it over, please. My turn.
exactly. But oh my goodness, yeah. So, you had these books. Now, you were doing this for a specific friend as well. The
Yeah,
Og and
so
At books.
it was his idea because he wanted them for his kids. So I did those ones and then we just never really he didn't tell me he needed more at the time or anything, so then I just started kind of doing other projects.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, and I learned this just yesterday because I had bought a couple very tiny books that had the idea of like the rhyming thing. So it was like something about taking your pet to the vet. And so,
Yes.
it had all those et words.
Yep.
But, and this is maybe where they're relying on the picture because, so this little girl's reading it, and I'm not able to, to look at what she's reading because I'm in the car driving. She's behind me in the
Okay,
back
yeah, yeah.
seat. But keeps talking about taking the pet to the dentist. I'm like, I don't remember that word being in the book, but okay. So it's not till
I guess
we're
a vet kind of looks the same. Like if it's just a picture of a vet, they probably have like the white coat and whatever.
could be that must be what she was thinking.
Yeah,
But
that's
she kept reading
smart.
it with dentist. I'm like, well, I'm impressed that you can read the word dentist.
Yeah.
I mean, but I
Huh.
was like, that doesn't make sense because it should be something like a vet. So
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
were talking, as she read it through the second time, I was asking her, because she at one point was like, "What is?" And I thought I heard her say B-E-T, B as in
Yeah.
boy,
Oh,
but she was
yes.
actually saying V as
V.
in. So she's asking, what is this word? But I didn't,
Yeah.
it didn't click in my head at the
Yeah.
time until we started talking about like, well, dentist, is there a word like vet in there? Because I feel like there should be. She's like, oh, that must be what this word is. And I'm like, do you
Um,
know what a vet is? She's like, no, what's a vet? No. So I
yeah,
had to explain to her,
a pet
dentist is
doctor.
what humans would do, but yeah, that
Mhm.
would be. But it was such an interesting thing because the way her mind worked, as far as her what she understood, and a lot of it was the picture, like you were saying.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah, very. So you have a book coming out in June. What is this book
Yes.
about?
All right, so June 20th, mark it on your calendars. So June 20th, it's actually a re-release of a book with a ton of new content. Like I set out to do like 10 to 20% more content. It's like 50% more. Like it's almost like a whole nother book into it. It's a lot. Which is fantastic. I'm really glad how it came out. So it is Goodbye Too Soon,
Hmm.
which originally came out, it'll be 5 years ago. Or yeah. And well, sorry, no, the book came out 4 years ago. The reason I wanted to redo it now, this is the 5 year anniversary of my brother's death by drug overdose. So this one, I added a subtitle to it so you can tell the difference between the first one and the second one, because I still called it Goodbye Too Soon, but the subtitle, A Family's Lost by Drug Overdose.
Okay.
So you have the subtitle. And I did, throughout the years, I have learned more things, obviously, about my brother's life, but also a lot more research went into things about what addiction is and bullying and coping strategies and things I learned through therapy and stuff like that. So the book has a ton more research part in it, as well as, of course, I keep with the story of learning about the death and the burial and funeral and all of that to keep the emotional side. And from what I hear from people who have already pre-read it, um, tissues again are needed.
Yeah.
Tissues are a big deal. And it's coming out in June 20th specifically, because it actually would have been Brandon's birthday. So I thought that was very fitting to make the 5 year anniversary of the death, and then have it come out on his birthday for that. And there's even pictures in it now. I put pictures in it.
It's amazing how there's still a need for pictures even for adult books. You know, we think,
Visualization only goes so
yeah,
far.
right? It's so true. I remember a time when there was never any pictures, not even in the subject headers, and that was just the norm. But it seems like, the last, I guess, maybe 5 years I'm
Mhm.
aware of, where that's become more of a thing that people want pictures or at least something pretty on
Yeah.
top at each chapter, and it's just interesting the way things change and what's
Yeah.
desired.
Yeah, it's very true. We like to we like to see other pretty things.
Yeah, even if it isn't, even really about what's the book is, just sometimes it's just a pretty picture for the sake of a pretty picture. But
Right? Pretty pictures are soothing. They soothe the soul.
yeah, yeah, just it's an interesting thing. Never thought I'd see that, but these
But
times
here we
change.
are. Right? Here we
Absolutely.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I added a lot more. So the re-release is coming out. It's all on pre-order now, so go and pre-order it. Um, but I think it's just, even 5 years later, it's still such a big topic, right? Drug
Oh,
overdose
sure.
is still so rampant that re-releasing it is just, again, another way to bring the conversation back up and start talking about it again, because it's not over. They
No.
have not left. Drugs are still very much on the street, very easily accessible. So it is a topic that still very much needs to be done.
So for families that maybe currently are dealing with that problem with one of their family members alive and not so well, but at
Yeah.
least alive,
Yeah.
how do you feel that do you feel like that book could benefit them? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
For sure. So the book is written for the family members, because it is by my perspective, the sister's perspective. And it
Hmm.
does talk a lot about when he was alive and forgiving yourself and forgiving the person, which can seem a little silly. Why do you have to forgive yourself? Because a lot of times, those of us, the loved ones of the person with the addiction, we we think we should be able to do more. What if there was a lot of this going on after Brandon's death, and even while he was alive? What if I would have said something different? What if I would have, invited him over for dinner that day? What if I But the thing is, when it comes down to it, there's nothing I or anybody in the family could have done. It was his addiction. He needed the help for it. Of course, if he asked, "Hey, can you drive me to detox?" Sure. But if the question is, "Hey, can I have $20?" No. right? And even if I said, "What's it for?" and he said, "It's for food,"
Right. He may
mm,
be lying to you.
he probably was.
Yep.
And that's the thing, they are master manipulators, and
Yes, they are.
he was so good at he'd be like, "I just wanna see my family," and then as soon as you said no to something, it was, "Oh, you're such a" choice words. And so there's this distance and this boundary, and this is what the book talks a lot about, is setting those boundaries even when it's so hard to do. Setting the boundaries to make sure that you take care of yourself, because yes, that person is suffering. Like, yes, of course, Brandon was suffering. However, I couldn't change that. All I could do was protect myself and protect my family and my kids from his disease affecting them as it had affected me. So I'm the little sister. He was 4 years older than me. And growing up, I remember him like coming home bloody because he got in a fight. And I'm like, what is going on? I remember our house being robbed more than once because he owed somebody money, him stealing from me because he wanted to go buy drugs, right? So there is this fear and this sense of what's the word? Just heartbreak. It's not the word I'm looking for, but there's this fear and heartbreak with this person because it's my brother. I love him. I still remember as kids and playing and watching cartoons and things like that. But at the same time, I shouldn't be living in fear that I'm going to be robbed or I'm going to be hurt or something like that. So as somebody who loves someone with an addiction, you have to, and every circumstance is different. All right? Let's throw that out right now. Every circumstance is different. This is all personal experience I'm saying. But we have to set ourselves up so that we can still thrive in our lives even if that might not include them. So when I got married, my brother was still very hardcore into drugs. He was not invited because I was not about to have him come and be high and drunk and all the things that he would be doing at my wedding. I was like, absolutely not. And it still is so heartbreaking. If I look at wedding pictures and I think about it, I'm like, my brother wasn't there. Like it sucks. It really does. And there's a little piece of me that wishes it could have been different. But then there's a bigger piece of me that goes, I know why it isn't different. I
Right.
know why it happened the way it did, but it doesn't make it easier. It just is. And so the book talks a lot about forgiving yourself for doing what is needed to be done to be able to thrive in your own life, but still loving them. Like I said, if my brother asked me for something like, hey, I want to go to detox, I would have been there.
Sure.
But I'm not going to put myself in a position, as I had done for years and years and years, to listen to him call me names because I wasn't going to support his drug habit.
Right. And I'm gonna go so far as to say, if he asked you for $20 for groceries, you would have gotten him the groceries. You wouldn't have
I
given
had
him the
at
money, but
times.
you would have made sure he had something to eat if he truly needed something to eat.
I had
So,
at times.
yeah,
Yes, I definitely
yeah,
have at times done that.
yeah.
But at the same time, there's this line that eventually it's like, okay, if you're constantly asking for groceries
Right.
and you have, here, I know he had a welfare check, at least at the time I'm thinking
Mm,
of. Well, what is that check going to if it's not for groceries? Because I know it's
right.
not for rent. So at the
Right.
same time, even giving groceries, it was enabling him in his situation, anyways. So even then, it had to come to an end where it was no, because I know that you are not actually doing it. Or
Misusing
exactly.
misusing the money that's allotted for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can relate to this because unlike you, I don't have a big brother in that situation, but I do have a little brother in that situation.
Yeah.
And he hid it from us for a very long time. We had no clue because they are very good at hiding. So, you know, in our case, we didn't know until it really hit some kind of crescendo. Then it was like, oh, that explains this, this, and this that we just didn't connect was that situation. But then, once we were aware, then it all made sense and it had been a problem for longer than we imagined.
Yes. Exactly. And that's usually how it happens, right? They're great at hiding it. Or even like there was times when it seemed like, oh, he's doing so much better. He's holding down this job. He's doing this and that. And then it's like, oh, he's just hiding it better. And then, like you said, it comes to this crescendo and it all comes slamming down again.
Exactly.
And in the book, like, obviously, it has a lot of focus on drugs as the main addiction, but I do talk about addiction in a general sense as well. So there is an entire chapter on what is addiction, because addiction doesn't just come in the form of drugs. There's, addiction to shopping, gambling, food, basically anything you can think of, right? You
True.
can become addicted to it.
Right.
So
Basically, anything that you can't possibly live without, that
yeah,
you can't break off for a period of time without it drawing you back in, is how I would
exactly.
define that.
Yeah, which is a great way to do that. And so there's a whole chapter in there that I actually take what the DSM-5, which is the diagnostical criteria for mental health. I put in there what addiction is according to that, and then explain risk factors. So when I was saying a lot of research, I really did a lot of research. I wanted people to understand that, yes, this person has an addiction and it sucks real bad for them, for the family, for everyone in their life. But then I wanted people to also know that it is not a choice. They don't wake up and go, it'd be great if I lost everyone who ever cared about me and I was super high all the time. I think that would make my life great. That's not the way it works. There are so many other factors that happen, just like any other kind of illness. You don't wake up and go, I always use this example because my husband's diabetic. It'd be great if my pancreas stopped working. I had to use insulin every day. That is definitely not what happened. He does not like having to use insulin. Worst diabetic ever. And so I wanted that message to come across in the book as well, is that they are people, but they have an illness. And so the risk factors are in there. And so I go through, I explain those. And then again, a lot of forgiveness stuff and coping strategies. And the coping strategies, yes, they were things I used when he had died, but they are things that you can use while they are alive. Because I lost my brother 20 years before I lost my brother. And that's one of the hardest things to sort of reconcile, is because now that he's gone, there is never a chance of something else. There's never a chance of getting back to what we were 20 years ago. And so in that book, there is, like I said, the coping strategies at the end that are very much expanded from edition 1. I wanted to spend a lot more time on those because it is so important to understand that these coping strategies are things that you can use long before the person is dead, when they are still going through it, and you have to make that separation. You have to deal with that separation because they're your family. They're maybe your best friend. They're maybe your kid. Like you have to figure out what's going to keep you going while knowing that there's not a heck of a lot you can do for them because they need other help.
Right. Well, and it's like it's always been said, until they themselves realize that they need the help and want to make the change,
Hmm.
there's nothing you can do other than be supportive of that change.
Right? Exactly. And something, because on my podcast, The Write or Die Show, go check it out. Write like you're writing something. So on The Write or Die Show, you can listen to it anywhere and watch it on YouTube. I interview other writers. We talk about mental health. That's what the show is. It's all about mental health. So I've talked to a ton of people who have been through addiction. So they're on more the recovery side by the time they come on my show. But pretty much the similar themes, because we're coming up to 5 years of this show. Next month, or actually this month, we're in March.
Goodness.
We're in March now. This is the 5-year month here.
I guess so.
Yeah. So over the years, I've talked to a ton of people, and common themes when it comes to addiction is, one, they're an addict forever. They might be in recovery, they might have made their way through, but they are an addict. And these are not my words. Well, they're my words, but these are things I've heard from many, many people. And the other thing is that something else was happening. And I think that's the big one that we don't talk about enough when it comes to addiction. We talk about addiction. We don't talk about, why is the person addicted to something? And usually it's some kind of underlying depression, anxiety, whatever it is. And so I know for my brother, there was a lot of trauma. I don't know all of it because, again, baby sister, but I do know there was some trauma, and I share some of that in the book. And there was anxiety. I remember watching him when I want to say I would have been 14, 15, something like that, having a full-blown panic attack. I had never seen a panic attack before. Mental health was not something I knew anything about. This is early 2000s. We didn't talk about it. Full-blown panic attack. He calls 911. The fire department shows up, like the whole thing. And I'm just like, what is happening right now? And so that was just one of those, core memories because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And so for whatever reason, he suffered from panic attacks, anxiety. I know some of the trauma, like I said, some of that's shared in the book, and whatever else was going on that I have zero idea and I'll never know. Um, but those are the things that a lot of times we forget. And those people that I've talked to over the years, that's what they said. They could not deal with their addiction until they dealt with whatever the heck else was going on. And
Which
that
makes a lot of sense.
right?
I'm not a licensed healthcare professional. Not even
Neither am
close.
I. Neither
But
am
I work on the periphery of healthcare. So I hear all this and I think this is just like when you hear about an underlying health condition
Yes.
that makes you more susceptible to something else.
Yes.
I'll make, COVID, for example, people who have like COPD or other underlying issues, when COVID came around, they were far more susceptible than, neighbor A, neighbor B, so to speak. And so what I am hearing as you're talking about this makes sense to me looking at it from that point of view. It's like they have a weakened emotional immune system, which
Yes.
makes them more susceptible to these addictive behaviors or
Yeah.
to drugs.
Yeah. Well, I love that weakened emotional immune system. I like that term. I'm stealing it.
If you like, take
I'm
it.
stealing it. I love that.
I gift it to you.
Thank you so much. It's much better than being a thief. But that's exactly it. There are these things that predispose people, and there's an entire chapter on that. I call it risk factors. An entire chapter on that. And as I'm writing this chapter, so obviously again a lot of research, and I'm writing it. I'm sharing stories from my past and with my brother and stuff because it's the emotions that I want to get across. And I'm like, wow, Brandon, you check off that one and that one and that one and that one. I'm like, oh my gosh. Wait, was there anything that you weren't saying that you weren't going to have an addiction? Wow. But that's my problem is food. So, and that's the thing. Addiction happens in so many different forms, and drugs is the one that is in the forefront, of course, because it does kill. Not to say
Right.
other things can't, but it is very high rate. And I do put statistics in the book too. Do not ask me for them off the top of my head. All right.
Deal.
But but I did want to throw those in the book too because it's so important. But there is that comorbidity with an addiction with something else, whatever that else happens to be, because of your stunted emotional. Oh, what did you say? You said it was emotion. What? Oh,
Weakened emotional immune system.
Weakened emotional immune system. I'm stealing it. I just have to remember, but I'm gonna steal it. But you gifted it, so it's not really stealing.
I'll email it to you later if you want.
Perfect. I love it. That is fantastic, darling.
Who knows? It might even be one of the video clips.
I think it should be. It totes should be.
It might be. Oh boy.
So yes, that's what's coming out in June 20th. I just want to repeat it, goodbye too soon. Family's loss of drug overdose. You can go order it now.
So as you were going back through this book, which I imagine was probably super emotional when you wrote it the first time around.
Yes.
How were you affected this time around? And I had a question I was going to go with, but let's just start there. How did
All
it
right,
affect
sounds
you the
good. Sounds
second
good.
time around?
Again, very emotional. And as I'm reading it, so what I did this time round is I reread it because it had been a while, and I kind of made myself notes. Add blah 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 here, and read. Oh, add more research here. Oh, put a picture here, and that's what I did first. I went through and I decided where I wanted to add stuff, and where I was like, oh, I didn't talk very much about this, like, so when it came to, what was the part? The viewing. There's a chapter on the viewing. So basically each chapter kind of followed from when I got the phone call to when we actually buried him. That's how the setup of the book is. And then of course there's other stuff throughout it. Um and so in the chapter of the viewing, I'm like, wow, it's only 3 pages long. That's short. And so I was like, hey, I was clearly not in a great place to emotionally share that much for that chapter. And so I really expanded that part, which I think gives it more depth. So there was stuff that I was like, wow, I really glossed over how this affected me, and this is what I want people to know is how these things affect others. And that's why I was like, hey, let's dig a little deeper here. So a lot of the chapters I added a heck of a lot more emotions, which is why you need way more tissues when you read it. So it definitely was very emotional. I had to read it and just kind of take a step back and be like, wow, okay, more here, more there, research there. Take a break, go do some crafts and some animal stuff, and then come back and write some more because it's hard to relive things that were difficult to begin with.
Is it fair to say that maybe the reason you didn't go so in depth the first time around was because it was too fresh, and that now
Yes.
5
Oh,
years
for
later you've
sure.
had time to process
Yes.
and yeah.
100% yes, exactly. And not only process, but I've also been through therapy, not specific to Brandon. I've been going to therapy on and off for years. Therapy's wonderful. So I had went again, more to deal with my trauma, but of course my trauma is intertwined with my brother. And so he came up and his death, and so there was some sessions where we focused on kind of figuring out some of that stuff. And through doing that, I learned more, was able to share a heck of a lot more because, yeah, at the time it was way too fresh. I wrote it basically right afterwards, which, is kind of cool. It sounds weird, but it's kind of cool to read something that's written so fresh because you're getting a different perspective than we're getting 5 years later. 5 years later, I've had time to deal and cope and whatever. So it's different, but it was kind of neat
Emotion
reading it.
versus more processed perhaps?
Yes, exactly. Raw versus processed. Exactly.
So the obvious question, did you find it cathartic to go
Yeah,
back through this, and has it helped you even more process and maybe grow from this experience?
for sure. Yeah. So the first time I wrote it was cathartic in and of itself. It was really nice to get my thoughts and emotions out onto paper and share that in a way that I think was beneficial to the public. I think it's really important to again have these conversations. So not only was it helpful to write the book, but just the promo that you do beforehand, like I'm doing now, and telling people about it, even if somebody didn't pick up the book and they're hearing me talk, they're getting something. Right? So that I
Yes.
think was really cathartic and really helpful. Going back through it, I was able to view it and go, "Wow, I did that." And because like so when we buried him, I can laugh about this now. When we buried him, I kind of yelled at him a little bit. So at the end of the burial, my mom wanted everybody to go up and talk to Brandon, and so everybody goes up one by one. I was second to last because my mom was last, so I go up and I lean down to the hole in the ground and I'm talking, and then I start kind of being mean. I'm telling him, you know how a little sister is, okay? Picture that. Um, and my godmother walks by and she's like, "Are you yelling at the boy? Don't you yell at him." And it's so funny because that is exactly what she would have said to us when he was alive. Like, if we were getting at it,
Yeah.
she would be like, "Don't you say that to the boy," or "Don't you be mean to your sister," like, things like that, right? So then I stand up and I start yelling at everybody who's there, because by that point, I had been the strong one the whole time, right? It was
Hmm.
my mom and me that planned the entire funeral, and let's be real, I planned the whole thing because my mom was basically a ghost of herself. And so I was the strong one for a month because it was COVID. It took a month before he was buried. That is a lot of exhaustion. When you have to hold it together for other people for that long, it is
Yeah.
exhausting. So I
No
just broke.
closure.
Exactly. I broke and I'm yelling at everyone, telling them, "You're allowed to be mad. You can be mad because he shouldn't be dead right now. He shouldn't have been doing and I just, let it go. My aunt is standing there and she's kind of chuckling because she's like, okay, there's the Randy we all know and love, right? Because again, I had been holding it together and it's like everyone else is crying and breaking down and I'm just stoic. Um, I totally cried at the funeral. I like crawled into my husband's lap and I was bawling. But for the most part, I was the calm one. I did the whole eulogy and all that. And so my aunt's like, well, I mean, she's not throwing anything. So I take a tissue box out of, I don't even know who was standing beside me. I can't even remember who was standing, but I take the tissue box and I throw it at no one in particular. Just, I go, see, there, I threw something. And so then everybody started laughing and it was like, whoa. Like I just a weight lifted off everybody because yes, it is sad. It is absolutely horrible when you lose somebody, but you are allowed to have the entire range of motion from
Yes.
despair to anger to silliness, back to despair to hatred to like everything. Every single emotion is wrapped up in grief. And we have to unwrap it like that I don't know if you've ever played this game at a party where it's just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped and the music plays and it stops and somebody unwraps something and the music plays and it goes around, it stops and somebody else unwraps it. It's a little game. That's what it felt like.
Okay.
Is that
Now, I can't say I've
every
played that game, but it sounds fun.
it is. It's a lot of fun, and usually there's prizes, not horrible emotions. That's what it felt like. It felt like every so often something would get unwrapped from me, and I would just something else, some other emotion, whether it was anger or laughter or sadness, whatever, and something else would unwrap. And that's what it felt like at the time. And so now, 5 years later, looking back, I'm able to write about it in a different way and go, wow. It was totally okay that I did that. Even though people were like, whoa, I can't believe you just did that. It was okay and letting other people know that grief does not have a linear progression. It is not, I mean, the 5 stages of grief is one thing, but like it's not a linear thing. You are going to go up and down and backwards and forwards. Like it's all over the place. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Um,
And anger really is a part of that. I
oh,
mean,
big
I mean
time.
that anyone who's ever lost anyone that they loved, anger has always been a part of it, whether it's a small amount or
Yes,
large amount, but it's in there.
it's there.
I
Yep.
mean, to hold it back is just to do more damage internally.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I just let her rip. And yeah, looking back 5 years, I'm like, now I can express things in a way that I couldn't put words to before, which is really important to be able to identify these things and put words to them.
And can I just say, I mean, your description of how you reacted and the reaction everyone to feel, I felt like, oh my goodness, that could be like a really funny scene in a movie. I
Right?
mean, yeah, I mean, if
So,
there's any writers out there who are looking for ideas, here it is. That would be a killer scene in a movie.
so another reason that I wanted to rewrite this book, it was actually Mickey's idea, my publicist. I want to turn this into a movie really bad because again, it's something that is so important that we need to talk about. And so he's like, "Well, why don't you re-release it?" I'm like, "That's kind of works. It's 5 years later." So I am trying to figure out how the heck to make a movie. I have no idea. Although when I was little I was going to be a famous actor, so, So I've written some of the script. I'm not a screenwriter. I've never written, well, I shouldn't say I've never written one before. I've written plays for my church way back in the
Mm,
day. So it's been a
yeah.
long time, or a long time. So I have written some scripts way back when. I'm working on the script. It's gonna take a long time, but I want to turn it into a movie. And that scene, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be wonderful. There's gonna be tissues thrown everywhere.
Have you ever interviewed anyone who's made a movie? Because if not, I have a recommendation for you.
Ooh, I have. I've interviewed somebody who's written a play, and I've interviewed somebody who's acted in a movie.
Yeah,
Long
I'm
time
trying to
ago.
find her in my list. It was in my first season. Ah, Nina Brooks. She was,
Oh,
first of all, just the most amazing person. She's got so many irons in the fire, but she's made actually several movies.
really? Very
You'll find
cool.
her on IMDb, but I believe that I believe Mickey might have sent her my way, but If you didn't, let me know and I'll see if I can find her contact information. But she might be a wonderful resource for suggestions, some helpful hints. But she was,
Excellent.
I really enjoyed my conversation with her. I
Awesome. All
think
right,
I think the
very
first time I spoke with her
cool.
was like for 2 hours. We just had such a great conversation.
I love that.
So
Yeah. So I want to turn it into a movie one day. Maybe I don't know when. Like not maybe. I don't know when. It's going to happen. It will because that's what I
it's
do.
a
I say I'm
goal.
going to do something. I'm going to do it eventually.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is not going to the support group for the left idea.
Not sitting there in the well, no, it is sitting there in the waiting room, but for a
Yes,
while.
it's waiting room. Well, I have written a couple of the first scenes. Some of them are really easy cuz like the very first chapter in the book is it's the phone call. So I got the phone call saying that my brother was dead. I talked to the police officer whatever and I had to be the one to go and tell my mom. The way that chapter was written, I could almost just basically take it and plop it into a script because it was written like a back and forth conversation for the most part, whereas the rest of it's like research and paragraphs and stuff. This is literally the conversation I had with my mom. And there is a chapter of the funeral where I literally rewatched the funeral because it was COVID, it was live streamed. So it's still technically on YouTube. I still have the link to it. I rewatched it and I will just be able to take that whole chapter and plop it into a script because it is exact. So, I mean, some of it's done.
At least you've got a good start.
I think so. I just sometimes I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not emotionally prepared to do this
I get you on that. I get you
right
on that. So, as we're winding down, I'm trying to find my little notebook with all the little questions here. Because we're going to have the random question bit, right?
now. Yes, yes. I'm ready for it.
And actually, this actually seems to tie in pretty well with our conversation.
Ooh.
Um, so, my last guest asked the question: what is the difference between dialogue, conversation, discussion, and debate?
Ooh. Okay, so dialogue, conversation, discussion, and debate.
Hmm.
All right. So, okay. All right. I am a very literal person. Huh, it could be because I'm autistic. So I really love using words exactly based on their dictionary definition. I'm not a dictionary, so I'm going to do the best that I can. Dialogue to me is what we see in a book back and forth with a character. That's dialogue. Dialogue can be a conversation, but dialogue itself is within the context of a book or a movie. It is the written script of what somebody is doing. The conversation is what we had, a back and forth between two or more people. What was it? Dialogue, conversation, what was it? A
Hmm.
discussion. So a discussion is when, again, I would say two or more people are sharing ideas about the same topic. So a discussion can be a conversation, which could be written into dialogue. So we had conversation, but a lot of this was discussion based because we had a topic that we were talking about, until we got off topic, but a topic we were talking about and we discussed it. A debate, though, is generally, again, two or more people taking opposing sides to some kind of topic and trying to win their side. I don't want to necessarily call it an argument because I feel like an argument is anger.
I would
Whereas
agree.
it Right, whereas a debate is factual. We are stating facts and seeing who wins the most points. I'm thinking of like a debate club, and seeing who wins the most points on the debate, who has the more factual relevancy to the conversation that they're having in their debate. So that's what I'm going to say. All the differences are.
I like it. And you know what? I think that question must have been tailor made for you because I don't know if anyone else
Right?
could have answered it as well as you did. I certainly could not have.
Why? Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Here's like a side question just kind of that came to my
Ooh, love
mind.
it.
Could a dialogue be silent? Is it possible that dialogue could also be
Like an
maybe
inner dialogue.
well, inner dialogue, yes, like what a person's thinking inside, but
Yeah.
I'm also thinking body language.
I think it can be. I think though that again, because I love literal things, I'm going to have to look up all of these when we're finished to see how close I was with my guesses. Um, but I think that body language would be its own category. It is a type of dialogue or a type of speech. It's a type of showing a message. I just don't know where it falls in the literal context of definitions.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was
But
just
yes,
interesting because I think back
body
to
language
certain
is
movies
huge.
I've watched where you
Yeah.
see a person kind of not saying anything, but you could tell what they're thinking, and then the person
Come
reacting,
on,
you
it's
can tell what they're thinking.
Ariel had to make him fall in love with zero voice. I totally got
There you
it. Cause
go.
body language.
Ages. Nicely done.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I do love me a cartoon.
Yep.
Well, I really enjoyed having you. Before I let you go, though, I need you to give a question for the next guest.
So, because I am hilarious, I'm going to make a very weird question. Explain what your favorite cartoon is and why.
Hey, I like it. Now, watch the next person will be like, cartoons, what are those?
Right? Exactly.
In which case, I will give them a random question of my own. Favorite
I made it
cartoon?
broad. I was gonna be specific and pick a cartoon and say they have to pick a favorite character, but I made it more broad so that
No,
somebody should be able to answer it, you know?
I like what you did with that. I definitely, I'm gonna have fun with that conversation because I still
Excellent.
like cartoons. I am 50 plus, and I will always love cartoons.
I am looking forward to the new Mario movie when it comes out. I think like next month or the month after.
I think so.
Mario number 2. My grandson is 6. He's over now. He just came over a little bit earlier. And he goes, "Grammy, I can't wait to go watch Mario." I'm like, "Me too, bud. We are so seeing that in theaters." So excited.
So fun. Well, and the thing
Zootopia
is,
2, so good.
oh, really? I haven't seen
So
that one
good.
yet. But
He
yeah,
loves Zootopia, so we had to go see it.
well, absolutely right. But the cartoons that are made now compared to even when we were kids, they're just so in depth. I mean, they are made, I feel it, just as much for the adults as they are for the
Yes.
kids. And thank
100%.
goodness for it.
Right? Yeah, yeah. 100% they are. Yeah.
I was gonna go back and ask you another question. Oh, let me ask you this, writer to writer. And if we go over, then we go over.
It's your
But
show. You can do what you want.
that's right. I love it. So you have these your book in pre-sale status. At this point in time, I assume you have advanced read copies out there that people are reading and potentially
Mickey.
doing reviews.
So Mickey takes care of that stuff. My publicist with Creative Edge. Um, he takes care of that stuff.
How lovely.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I
uh,
know he definitely puts stuff out there to get reviews and things before books come out. But I don't know his process. He's awesome. He does his thing.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad to know that because I haven't hired him yet, and one of these days I do intend to do that. You can
That's how
count
it
on that,
happened.
Mickey.
That is how that happened. Is he would send me great guests. I was talking, and then one day I went, "Mickey, let's I want to talk to you about what you actually do." And like, yeah, let's work together some more. So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
how
because
it
I
all
can
went
tell
down.
he's high quality, but it's the
Yes. Yeah.
hardest thing in the world as an indie author to get
Oh,
reviews. It is. It's
yes.
next to impossible.
Yes.
So I've gone down multiple rabbit holes. I recently released another book, and I probably should have waited, but I was like, nope. I'm trying. I just put out a prequel
Mhm.
to a book I released last year.
Cool. Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
see
bad
if we
with
can get some traction here.
yeah. I'm bad with my kids' books. I just kind of put them up and I like don't promote them or anything because I'm just like this is just like my sideness and Mickey's gives me poop all the time. He's like, "Girl, you have to let me know when we got to promote and stuff." And I'm like, "Right, right, that part of it."
Yeah. Well, it's because that's not something where our headspace is. We are not salespeople, we are writers.
Right? Exactly. And this is why he is great at what he does. So, props to him for putting up with me.
With all of us, without a doubt. He's very
Yes.
good. I can't wait to work with him as soon as I'm able to work with him.
Yes, yes. I highly
Oh boy.
recommend.
Well, hopefully he'll get a little clip in all this too. But
There you
anyway,
go.
thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad we got to have another chance at the conversation,
Yes.
and we got a
Yes,
little more.
always fun
Last time it was
time.
more personal about you and your husband and the three-legged cat, and this time it was more about you and the new
So
book and
cute.
your brother. And who knows what
Yes.
our future conversation might be. Either
Who
way, we'll have
knows?
fun.
We totally will. For sure.
And maybe next time your not so nice cats will let you back into your little studio room.
They're such jerks. Such jerks. I love them to bits and pieces, but they are, ugh.
Sabotage! I could just picture the
Mm-hmm.
cat meeting, like, let's get her out by doing this.
I bet that's exactly what they did because now they have their little beds everywhere in my office. And I'm like, huh, how did this happen? How did I get kicked out of my space? I waited until my oldest had moved out so I could have my own space here. And now y'all are taking it and you're just these little jerks that don't pay me rent and I have to pick up your poo and feed you and at least they're cute. Very cute.
Right? That's what overwhelms everything. It's like, oh, but you're so cute, and oh, you
Right,
cuddle, and
exactly. Then
oh.
they come and they're all purr and look at me and pet me and I'm so beautiful.
They
Mhm.
are the gangsters of the animal world.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Do you know Gary Larson, the Far Side comic? Did you
Oh,
ever
yes,
read
yeah.
that? He's
A
got
little
he's
bit.
got one of his comics that where it's exactly that. He's got the dogs as clowns. He's got the bird with this fruity hat, and he's got the gangster cat thing going. I'm like, he nailed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's exact. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, let's go and wrap this up. So, thank you for joining us. Please be sure to check out Write or Die with Randy. And of course, if you like the Molten Truth, like, subscribe, share. Let's spread the word and help others find us. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.